Welcome back to Knucklehead Garage. Last episode, we got Rat Rob slammed down to the ground where he's going to lay when there's no air in his suspension. And I am psyched on how that turned out. But that was the easy stuff. Just ripped all the suspension out. This episode, I'm going to focus on building back up the rear suspension with air ride so that he can actually articulate up and down. I found some parts on Facebook Marketplace that I need. So first things first, I'm going to hook up the trailer and go grab those. First stop is meeting up with a guy who's got a 1963 Ford F100 beam axle. He's actually got two axles. One is complete, the other one is just the beam, and he's looking to sell them as a pair for very cheap, which I'll probably end up doing if they look good. Even if they're not perfect, the parts should be readily available, much more readily available than what I've got on the International. So let's check this one out. We're taking a look at the two axles that we're looking to purchase. Yeah, what's the deal behind this guy?
So this one came from another YouTuber, Mad Ginger Customs, off of his wife's 64 F100. I originally got it from him because I wanted to do a drop beam for my 63, and then I ended up doing a Crown Vic swap.
And it looks pretty complete.
It's tire to tire. I mean, it has brakes to brakes, obviously.
Yep.
It has been sitting for, I don't know, 8 months, 9 months.
I'm definitely going to go through it all, so yeah. No worries.
The one behind it is off my 63.
Cool. All right. I'll try to get them loaded up. That first stop was a huge success. That guy Jeff was awesome. He was excited and willing to show me around his F100 project, which is very nostalgic for him. He had a very similar one as his first vehicle when he was 15. So he bought this one with a blown motor that he's already taken out. He's gonna put in a 93 Mustang 5-liter, which is gonna be a pretty big upgrade. And it's gonna go on top of the front end that he's already swapped in from a Crown Vic. Next stop, I'm gonna be taking a look at a Ford 8.8-inch rear end. And this one is from an early 90s F-150 with relatively low miles. It's supposed to be in good shape and very inexpensive, and I hope it's all those three things when I get there. I'm choosing an 8.8-inch because they're known to be very durable, but also very standard and very common. So if I break anything or anything's bad, I can replace parts. If I want to change the gearing at any point, I should be able to do that relatively easily. So I'm just hoping I have enough room in the trailer to get this one in, and hopefully the guy's willing to help me as well. The second stop was even easier than the first stop. Conveniently, he had the axle already loaded into the grappling hooks of his tractor, which made it super easy to load in the trailer. I didn't actually even do anything, so thank you for that. The guy was really cool. His daughter actually came out. They work on trucks together in the garage, which I totally appreciate. I did take a quick look at the axle. It spun. It looks like it was serviced relatively recently, so that's a good thing. I'll dig into that more when I strip it down and get it ready to put in the truck. But I am on to the third and final stop, which I am the most excited about. I found a guy on Facebook Marketplace who has a full, unused 4-bar link setup from RideTech that should work well in my application, including a panhard bar. I'm sure he bought it for a project, just never used it. So I'm excited to check that out, and I will check in with you guys when I get there. All right, we are at our last stop, and here are the parts, which is a complete set, which looks like it's going to work perfect. But more fun is this 1961 Thunderbird, and it is on air ride as well, which is very cool. As you can see in the trunk here. But very straight. I still can't believe it's original paint. Very cool. Love the dash cover. It's pretty sweet.
It's a stock 390. So it must have, I think it was rebuilt at some point in time. The car only had, when I got it, 65,000 original miles.
Oh, wow.
Too, so.
Yeah, and that tonneau cover is pretty cool. Usually for a convertible, but that is a nice piece. I ended up chatting with Rick, the last guy, for probably about a half an hour about his original paint 61 Thunderbird, which was totally tricked out. Very cool. That's one of the things I like about this hobby of car enthusiasts. I like to hunt, I like to find the parts, I like to go meet people and just the culture of people willing to take time out of their day to chat and share stories is really fun. So I've got everything packed up. I think that system is going to work. So I'm excited to get back to the shop, get things unpacked, and start working on the rear end. I spent a little bit more time making sure that the frame is where I want it to be when this thing is fully laid out. And as a reminder, I am not laying frame on this, nor am I touching the body to the ground. I'm going to use these running board brackets to actually make contact with the ground when this is fully laid out. And that's because I'm using the original drivetrain with an added turbo, and I'm just trying to minimize the clearance between the bottom of the transmission and the ground. In the last episode, I did end up cutting about 7 or 8 inches off of this frame. That 7 or 8 inches was what someone put on there to cap the end of the frame when they shortened the frame, and they pulled the wheelbase in by about a foot when they converted this thing into a plow truck. Now I have to figure out how to extend the frame, including a C-notch, all the way back to support the rest of the bed back there. And I've seen 2 ways that people do this. One is people that actually have a full frame. They'll either order a C-notch kit or they'll make one from scratch, and they will figure out how to bridge over the axle and then cut out the frame that needs to be removed. Or the hardcore guys, they build a frame from scratch, which is very cool, but I've got enough good metal here to work with that I'm just going to try to piece stuff together as I go. And I want to show you guys what my plan is to do that. To help illustrate, I've got a side view of the truck drawn out here on the whiteboard, clearly not to scale, but we got the front of the truck here, the frame that comes back and has already been chopped off, as well as the location of the axle. There are a couple things that I've already figured out. The frame dimension, the bottom of the frame to the floor, is 5.5 inches. That is as low as I can go. And the axle center to the back of the cab is 40 inches. And I did that just by trying to line up the axle in the center of the bed, which was actually pretty easy to do. But I needed to figure out where the center of the axle was going to be relative to the ground. So I simply took the tire diameter and divided that by 2, and that gave me that point there. But to be able to measure something, I just added the radius of the axle, which I also knew, and that gave me a clear dimension that I could measure, and that is 15 1/8. And so now with these dimensions, I could actually start to figure out how I wanted to piece some tube together to get me some sort of C-notch that goes up and around the axle. And I didn't just sketch it on a whiteboard. I actually went back to CAD and I sketched something out to get myself dimensions so I could actually start making parts. And this is a great tool to visualize. And a picture's worth 1,000 words, but a prototype is worth 1,000,000. So I called my dad, aka the Wood Wizard, and he took these dimensions of these different pieces here and actually made them out of wood so that I could actually prototype it and figure out if this thing actually works. So let's get those pieces and see if I can actually make this thing look like a real C-notch. Here's what the mock-up looks like, and the first thing I actually had to do was figure out what size tubing I was going to use. And I had to consider this piece, which is the front piece of the 4-bar system from RideTech that's going to weld onto the inside of the frame. And one option was to actually just box in the frame there, but I figured let's go a little bit beefier and just use rectangular tube everywhere. So I selected for this piece here a 6x3, which will fit in there with a little bit of gap underneath. And for the rest of it, I'm going to use a 4x3 because 6x3 is definitely overkill. I think 4x3 is going to be more than enough, and everything is going to be 3/16 inch wall. The first check is just to see how this 3x6 is going to fit in there. He just used a 2x8 that I think he ripped down, maybe a 2x10, a pressure treated, and actually laminated another 2x, which gives that full 3-inch thickness there. So this should fit in there. Wow. Oh, snugger than I thought because there's a little, it's kind of wrinkled down there. So maybe that was a good call on the 6x. And when it's fully back, it'll actually have about a 1/2 inch reveal here, which will be nice. So once this is in here, I'm going to drill a bunch of holes on the top side and on the inside or the outside so I can do some spot welding everywhere and then lay a nice long bead along here. That is going to be super strong. I am going to pull that as far forward into the truck that I can before I hit another cross member, just to get that strength as far forward. That will enable me to be able to weld this bracket really kind of wherever I want for the start of the 4-bar. I'm not ready to cut this thing out yet, so I'm just going to mock up the other CNotch pieces, move the axle back a little bit, and just see how it gets up and over the axle. I am certainly glad that I prototyped this, because I actually just found a big mistake. These are the two pieces that are going to be welded together that will be welded to the new rectangular tube member that's inside the frame. It'll be something like this. And as you can see, I nowhere near clear the axle. The axle right now is at the height where it's going to be. So I looked back at the sketch I put together, and I did figure out I dimensioned something wrong. This dimension here is actually supposed to be from the bottom of the CNotch, not the top of the CNotch. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board and work on Design Rev 2 and convince myself and build up enough confidence that I can actually go buy steel, start chopping it up, and weld it back together. And hopefully that one actually works. I've got the frame members laid out on the bench, ready to be tacked together, and it's pretty interesting to see the difference from that original version that I put together to where I'm at today. So this is revision number 1. That's actually revision number 4, and it's been a somewhat frustrating and busy week to get there. I ended up taking that steel to work again to do some processing. I used their horizontal bandsaw, which made the job much easier. In fact, I don't even know how I would do it here in the shop. Certainly wouldn't be accurate if I tried, but I brought that stuff back home when I was done, put it up to the rear axle, and was just surprised as to why it wasn't lining up. What the? Huh? Why is that not even close? I looked back at the drawing I did, I looked back at the measurements, and I realized I was measuring from the bottom of the original frame, not the new frame member I was going to put in there. And that explained the discrepancy. So I scratched Rev 2, I went to Rev 3, I actually went back to the wood so that I wouldn't have to pay for more steel, and did some more drawing updates and found where I wanted to lie, which got me to Rev 4. So I had to go back to the steel place to grab some more, which actually was kind of cool. The manager recognized me from being there like 3 days before, and he was asking what I was doing. I told him a little bit about it, and he was like, oh, come on, take a tour. And he brought me around and showed me the tremendous facility they have there. They have every piece of steel you could ever imagine. They had plasma cutters bigger than I've ever seen before, 2 of them. They had trucks coming in and out, the biggest horizontal saws I've ever seen. And probably the most importantly, he showed me the cutoff racks where they have kind of scrap extra steel, which they try to sell for pretty cheap. And he said, you can come in here anytime, tell me what you're looking for, and I'll try to hook you up. So that was awesome. Before I actually tacked this together, I just wanted to show you guys a couple more tweaks I made before I got to Rev 4. In the original design, I had this top frame member 4x3, so 4 inches high. I made an audible and increased that to 6 inches, which is the same that I'm using on the main frame there. And that was to make sure that when I mount the airbag in between the top of the new CNotch and the axle that's going to live below, there's plenty of room to do this. This air spring actually does collapse a fair amount more. It's kind of in its resting space. But that 6 inches should give me a little bit more area to put some brackets up above and enough to build off the axle. The other thing I realized, and I've accounted for now, I realized I do have the C-frame, the original C-frame, which is going to kind of straddle this guy, which is a 3/16 inch thick piece of sheet metal. So I want to make sure that I leave enough room so that when the top frame here is actually just barely below this frame back here. So that when I mount anything like the bed across these frame rails, I have the same height all the way across. I did take Rev 4 and mocked it up on the truck real quick, and I am very confident it's going to get up and over the axle. So now I'm going to start by prepping these frame members and basically chamfering all the edges to make sure I get good penetration when I'm welding, get it tacked together, and see what it looks like on the truck. I ended up changing the game plan a little bit. Once I got those two first members tacked together, I figured it'd probably be a good idea to do kind of a triple check and make sure I have enough clearance, which I do. It looks like I have about 3/4 of an inch or an inch of clearance from where that straight section of the CNotch is going to go to the axle. So I'm happy about that. To do that, I actually did have to cut the frame, make the final cut there. I braced it up, made a couple interesting cuts here. I didn't actually just cut straight down. I held the angled piece up here. I don't know if you can see, but I traced it with marker. I'm gonna keep this section, I'll trim it to length, so I can do some additional plug welds here, just to get as much strength as I possibly can there. And I'm gonna do one more thing to close this episode out. I am gonna get one side fully tacked up and back mocked up on the truck for two reasons. One, I wanna see what a full CNotch is gonna look like on this truck. But two, and more importantly, it's gonna allow me to get started and prepped for next episode, which is gonna be getting the RideTech suspension parts in here. I do have air springs, I gotta design brackets for, so I got a lot of work to do for next episode. Make sure you stay tuned for that one. And as usual, if you guys like this stuff, make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you on the next episode. See ya.